Ever since the first Predator set foot on Earth in the Guatemalan jungle in 1987, the franchise has been filled with soldiers, hunters, police officers, and warriors who have faced these alien creatures, and very few live to tell the tale. However, the recent film Predator Killer of Killers reveals that the jungle hunter was not in fact the first Yautja to arrive on our planet. This race of hunters had been visiting us for centuries, not only to carry out their personal hunts, but also to select and gather the deadliest human warriors who managed to survive their challenges. Men and women from different eras, cultures, and corners of the world who not only face predators, but live to tell the story. It's important to clarify that this video is part of a series in which I'll explore all the protagonists from the Predator films, including Alien vs. Predator, and what happened to them afterward, all being told in chronological order. So without further ado, let's begin. To open this list, we begin with Ursa, a Viking warrior. But long before she was locked in a hibernation capsule aboard an alien ship, Ursa was already a formidable warrior. Daughter of the mighty Earl Einar of Ladoga, she was born into a world of blood, ice, and war in the 9th century. As a child, she witnessed her father fall in battle at the hands of the ruthless warlord Zoran. But the true trauma came later. To survive, she was forced to take her own father's life. Einar handed her a dagger and made her promise to one day avenge him. That day, a warrior was born. Over the years, Ursa became more than just a Viking. She came to be known as the Queen of the Sea, Valkyrie of the North, and Shield Maiden. She led her own clan and raised her son Anders in the shadow of vengeance. Her weapons were highly unique, 2 broken shields with steel edges as sharp as any sword. For her battles were not fought for gold, but for honor and blood. In 841 AD, she led a series of raids that culminated in the massacre of a Krivich village, where she discovered the location of Zoran's stronghold. At that point, her son was not yet ready to fulfill his mother's revenge, but Ursa was. Upon reaching Zoran's fortress, she unleashed all her fury and carved her way through enemy warriors with her bladed shields, until she came face to face with her father's killer. When Zoran recognized her, he tried to humiliate her, calling her a coward for not having fought as a child. But he had no time for more words, as Anders beheaded him with his spear, sealing their family's vengeance. However, that act was only the beginning of a new battle. Suddenly, an invisible shockwave blasted through the throne room, and from the shadows emerged a new enemy, a brutal Yautja, armed with advanced technology. In seconds, it slaughtered the Viking warriors. Only Ursa survived long enough to face it. Her son managed to wound the creature before being trapped under rubble, and it was Ursa who engaged the Predator in combat. Though she survived a blow from its weapon, one of her shields was destroyed, and she was thrown into a frozen lake. Ursa plunged beneath the ice, but she did not give up. There, she found an air pocket and waited, hidden beneath the surface. When the creature searched for her, she emerged, lured it into a trap with an anchor, and managed to break the ice, dragging both of them into the depths. Even underwater, she kept fighting until the Predator tried to use its kinetic weapon again, but Ursa shielded herself with what remained of her shield, and the shockwave impaled the Predator against the anchor, as well as launching Ursa out of the water, having surfaced victorious. However, upon returning to the fortress, she found her son Anders gravely wounded. He died in her arms, but not before confirming that his mother had defeated the monster. Still, this was not her final battle. The Yautja captured her and placed her in a hibernation capsule. When she awoke, she was inside a cell with 2 other men, Kenji, a ninja warrior, and Torres, a pilot. They were forced to fight one another, and the predators released a massive creature known as the Backbiter, a beast with a mouth on the back of its head. Torres was swallowed, but survived. Ursa and Kenji fought the monster together, and then turned their fury on the lead Yautja, attacking with everything they had. This massive predator was named by Ursa as the Grendel King. To fight, she fashioned a piece of metal into an improvised shield. After disabling their explosive collars and hijacking a ship, Ursa once again risked everything. When a chain held the ship they were trying to escape in, she threw herself back into the fight and destroyed the anchor, allowing Torres and Kenji to escape. Her sacrifice ensured their freedom. But once again, the Yautja captured her and sealed her into another cryogenic sleep. In feudal Japan, honor, blood, and succession defined a man's destiny. Kenji, the son of a powerful warlord, grew up within the walls of a castle, training alongside his brother Kiyoshi, dreaming of days of glory. But that dream shattered in the year 1609, when their own father forced them to fight to the death for the right to inherit his legacy. Kenji refused to raise his sword against his brother, and that decision would mark the rest of his life. Fearing their father's disappointment, Kiyoshi attacked and wounded him, claiming the throne for himself. Humiliated and betrayed, Kenji fled. For 20 years, he vanished from the world. In secret, he trained and lived as a peasant, but in the shadows, he forced himself into a lethal ninja. When his father died in 1629, Kenji returned to the castle, determined to finally confront his brother. He infiltrated the fortress unseen, but the guards eventually detected him. Even so, he defeated them one by one until he reached the main hall. There, Kenji and Kiyoshi faced each other in a brutal duel. Kenji emerged victorious, mirroring the wound his brother had once inflicted on him years before, but chose to spare his life. It was then that a weakened railing gave way, and Kiyoshi fell from the castle. Despite the fall, that was not truly the end for Kiyoshi. From the shadows, a new threat appeared. A predator had been watching the entire time. Kenji used smoke bombs to escape, ran across the rooftops, and fell into the river. Badly wounded, he dragged himself to shore, where he found Kiyoshi still alive. But before he could react, the predator stabbed his brother. In that moment, the two siblings reunited one final time and fought the creature together. They managed to defeat it with cunning and determination. Kiyoshi died shortly after, but not before reconciling with Kenji. Just like Ursa, the Yautja captured Kenji and placed him into cryogenic hibernation. Years later, he awoke inside a cell, now a prisoner of the Yautja, alongside Ursa and Torres. Though they did not speak the same language, they all understood the same message. They would be forced to fight to the death in a gladiator-style arena. Kenji was armed with a katana and was made to fight Ursa. But when Torres was swallowed by a monstrous creature, they were forced to cooperate to survive. That battle forged a mutual respect between them. Soon, they attempted to escape, and Kenji and Ursa faced off against the predator leader hand to hand, while Torres activated the ship. The battle was fierce and bloody. Though they managed to wound the massive Grendel king, he quickly overpowered them with ease, forcing them to flee. Just as they were about to escape, the Yautja leader threw a spear and tore off Kenji's right arm. While trying to leave the planet, the predators shot a harpoon-like projectile attached to a chain to prevent the ship from launching, and Ursa was forced to leave the ship to destroy the anchoring mechanism from the outside, allowing the ship to launch. Kenji, bleeding and now with one arm, tied off his stump and smiled, because he had found a new clan and a new brother. Naru was raised on the plains of North America by the Comanche tribe. A healer by tradition, but a hunter by nature. Naru grew up in the shadow of the great hunters of her tribe, bound by the limiting expectations of a culture that saw her as a woman with no place in the hunt. But what others didn't know was that Naru had a true gift as a warrior. In 1719, when she saw an object streak across the sky during a storm, Naru believed it to be the Thunderbird, a mythical sign signaling that she was ready to face her Kutamia, the rite of passage to become a hunter. In truth, the sign was the ship of the pharaoh Yautja, who had come to Earth in search of worthy opponents. From that moment on, Naru stopped trying to convince her tribe and started proving herself through action. During the hunt for a lion that had injured a member of the group, Naru already suspected that something more dangerous had scared it off. During the chase, she was attacked and knocked unconscious, waking later to discover that her brother Tabe had killed the lion and been named war chief. Though frustrated, Naru did not give up. She set out on her own, tracking footprints, avoiding traps, and witnessing firsthand how the Predator killed a bear with its bare hands. Even knowing she faced an unknown and powerful threat, she pressed forward. She was eventually captured by French colonizers, who had also been attacked by the Yautja. They tied her to a tree alongside her brother, intending to use them as bait. And that's when Naru realized something crucial. The Predator only attacked what it perceived as a threat. With this insight, Naru began to plan her counterattack. She freed her brother, used medicinal herbs to hide her body heat, learned to operate a pistol, and studied how the Yautja used its technology. Tabi died fighting bravely, giving Naru the time she needed to escape and prepare. Naru awaited the Predator in a battlefield of her choosing. Using traps, hunting tactics, and even the Predator's own mask, she executed her plan. With precision, patience, and a single well-placed shot, she managed to kill the feral Yautja, causing its own targeting system to drive a projectile through its skull. The next day she returned to her tribe with her dog Seri, the Predator's severed head, and Raphael Adelini's pistol in hand. Naru was declared war chief. Later in Predator Killer of Killers, it is revealed that Naru was captured by the Yautja. Her victory had not gone unnoticed, and she was placed in a cryogenic chamber, one of the few humans ever to have defeated a predator in combat.
We just shot down the last platoon.
Last but not least, we have John J. Torres, a young mechanic with a noble heart, raised in the countryside alongside his father. When the United States entered World War II, Torres was recruited as a naval pilot. He wasn't a technical genius, but he had an intense passion for flying. In 1942, while the military patrolled the Atlantic, and Torres worked on repairs for his F-4F Wildcat, nicknamed Bullet, his squadron was attacked by something they had never encountered before: an alien ship equipped with harpoons, nets, and cloaking technology, piloted by a predator. Only one survivor managed to return, his fuselage pierced by one of these harpoons. Torres examined the projectile and immediately knew it wasn't human. Without hesitation, he took off in his damaged plane to warn the others. But by the time he arrived, the enemy was already there. One by one, the planes fell. Alongside Captain Vandy, Torres discovered that the Yautja was tracking them through their heat signatures. With that in mind, they ascended high enough to freeze their engines, planning to ambush the alien ship from above. Vandy sacrificed himself to give Torres one last shot. Torres came up with a plan and dove straight down at high speed, tricking the creature and crashing his own plane into the alien ship. The explosion brought the Yautja down and saved the rest of the squadron. Torres had accomplished the impossible and returned home a hero. After the war, back at his workshop, Torres was abducted by another Yautja ship and placed into cryogenic stasis. Years later, he awoke in a cell alongside Kenji and Ursa. The Yautja had now gathered 3 formidable warriors from different eras for a fight to the death. However, despite being the weakest of the 3, Torres managed to devise a plan, steal a Yautja ship, and escape with Kenji, leaving Ursa behind, with the predators once again hunting them. In the end, Ursa was recaptured. Naru remains frozen, and Kenji and Torres are on the run in an alien world. But if we've learned anything, it's that these humans won't give up easily. Moreover, Naru's return opens the door for a potential sequel, and also hints that other characters like Dutch, Royce, Mike Harrigan, or even Quinn McKenna might have been captured too. The idea that survivors are considered worthy by the Yautja and taken to this world for future trials adds a whole new layer of continuity. All of this leaves us with an expanded universe we've only just begun to explore. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. See you in the next one. Hey, don't go just yet. If you enjoyed this video, I've got another one I think you'll love. Check it out.